hello again everyone to those who were there earlier for the panel presentation. My name's Anne-Marie Way and I today am taking you through the summer clerk and graduate application process and talk a little bit about how to get it right. And apologies in advance if any of this is repetitive to some of the things we covered in the panel, but I am going to talk as though it's fresh to some people for those who have just joined. So our team at Duncan Cotterill, so just to start off with a little plug about us, so we have 5 offices across the country. So we're in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Nelson and Queenstown. Our Christchurch office has been around since 1857, so over 160 years now. So we've been around for a while down there. We've got about 46 partners, over 180 qualified lawyers, a team of just over 300. And yeah, I think in terms of some of the work we do, there are about 30 plus ASX and NZX listed companies that we work with. And we're a New Zealand member of Clerks, which is a global network of high quality legal professionals operating over 100 plus countries. Another little plug here. So we won the Grad New Zealand employer for the law sector for 2021 and 2022, which was really exciting for us. And hopefully I can give you a little bit more insight today around what we are looking for in our prospective employees. Before I start, here is a little snip of our team. So you already heard enough about me and what I do. We have Michaela, who's a senior advisor who sits in our Auckland office, and our awesome people and culture coordinator, Amy, who's based down in Christchurch. We've got a few new faces to the team shortly as well, so you may be seeing them. But in terms of our summer clerk offering, we are looking for summer clerks and graduates. So summers will be for the upcoming summer of 2022 and 2023, and graduates will be commencing in the 2023 summer. So for summer clerks, we typically are looking for those students who will be in their penultimate year with us. It is a rotational program that we offer, so you typically do a rotation pre and then post Christmas. And we usually try to get you through sort of litigation and commercial, so you get a bit of flavour in dispute resolution and transactional type of work, just to kind of expose you a little bit more to both those areas. We have a buddy system, so when you join, you'll be buddied up and they'll take you for regular coffees and have regular check-ins pre-starting and then ongoing throughout your time with us. And our summer clerk roles typically feed into our graduate positions. So our summer clerks often then fill the pipeline for our grad roles, but this year we're taking additional graduate roles in Christchurch, Wellington and Queenstown office. So before you start, just a few key points. So I just like to be transparent on this point. We received over 700 applications in 2021 for summer clerks and graduates though, so do bear that in mind. But that's why I think it's important to talk through today the process a bit more and what we're looking for, because you know it is quite competitive and there definitely are lots of applicants that are out there. The summer clerk period, as mentioned, so it's the upcoming summer, so it will be from late November 2022 to early February 2023. Ensure if you're going for a summer clerk position that generally speaking you are clear for those dates in summer, just to make sure that if you do secure a role you are able to commit to the position. So our applications have already opened and the final day to apply is Monday. So we usually expect to see a bit of an influx of candidates across the weekend and ahead of Monday. So jumped ahead a little bit. So our first round of interviews usually will commence this year. I think it's around the 19th of April. So we have interviews throughout that period, and then our second round we do late April, early May. And this year our first round of interviews will most likely be over video conference, with the second round in person. And just in terms of numbers, so that you have an idea as well. So last year, in terms of summer clerks, we took 6 in Christchurch, 3 in Wellington, 4 in Auckland, 1 in Queenstown, and 1 in Nelson. And like I say, typically those numbers then pull through to our graduate opportunities, but hopefully that helps answer the earlier question about numbers. Things to consider. So who are you applying to and what will they be considering as part of their process? So you will, hearing from us all today, you'll understand that each firm looks for slightly different things. So think about that when applying. Be specific in your applications to help you stand out from the crowd. We look for well-rounded people. So be honest and authentic in your application. So if it's really just not the firm for you and you're trying to make something work and it's not really the interest, area of law that you're keen on, or you don't really get a good vibe of the culture and people there, that's okay. But just be authentic to yourself. Think about what kind of legal career you want, and it sort of feeds into my last 2 points. Where do you want to work? Is it, hopefully you want to work in a large, commercial law firm like the ones that are presenting today, but it doesn't have to be. Perhaps you want to work in a smaller firm or a business or in-house. Make sure that you are looking for opportunities that you do feel match your authentic self. And then what type of work do you want to do, and does that firm practice in that area? So for example, if you wanted to do criminal law at Duncan Cotterill, we don't so much delve into that area, but there are other firms out there that absolutely do. So more things to consider. I've got research. So that's pretty self-explanatory, I think. So it's really important to look through the firm's website, come along to these sorts of presentations, speak to people so that you really understand what the business does and if it matches your criteria. Think about what you know about them, and before you even get started, understand their application dates and their process, and make sure that you're available and ready for that. So your cover letter. So just a few points here to cover. So typically a cover letter, I like to say, should give an employer an idea of who you are and what skills you can bring to the job. So I think it's quite a good opportunity to really tell your story. And it can help set you apart as well. So do remember that often on an application, for us anyway as a firm, the first thing we see is the cover letter. So something that's really engaging and interesting really draws you in. And then I've got why them. So set out why you're interested in their business in your cover letter, so that it's not just a copy paste cover letter where you change the recruitment title to say whom it may concern or recruiter at Duncan Cotterill. Actually set it apart within your cover letter to pull out some things, whether it's the firm values and why you're interested. And think about your other attributes, so and how they might relate. So I've got mooting, sporting abilities, community work, or what skills from previous jobs can you incorporate that might translate into a corporate environment. You'll be surprised at how many skills you gain are relevant. It's all relevant, but it is really just kind of how you present it and frame it up. And then I've got make sure each cover letter is tailored to each application and each form. So that's that's really important to take the time, understand who the recruiters are, and tailoring your cover letter as appropriate to each of the respective firms. So I've got a little do's and don'ts list here. So in terms of what we say do, keep it short. So ideally a cover letter is no more than 1 page long. It's sort of something that should be short and punchy. Any longer and you can kind of lose the reader's interest. I've also seen people reduce the font size to size 6 or 7 so that they can get more on the page, but just, try to keep it short if you can. And the other thing here is make sure it's addressed to the right person at the right firm. And I did cover that, but I think it's really important to get the spelling of the firm and the name and their title right, because often otherwise it could be a no when you're screening 700 applications and you've got one in front or two in front of you and they're both fairly equal, but one's got a spelling mistake or addressed to Anne-Marie at the wrong firm. I think it's pretty obvious which one you're going to go for. So structure, set out what you're applying for, the position, the location, what type of work you're interested in, why, a little bit about you and why you're applying. Academics, in your cover letter, you might want to highlight some of your best bits or things that you're most proud of. I've got lots of questions over the years about whether or not they should include reference to any grades that that you haven't done particularly well in. My comment there personally, this would change for everyone, but is if you feel that you want to address a specific grade that you weren't overly happy with, then absolutely do that, but just keep it short and succinct and explain why, you know, if there was a circumstance that meant that, you know, you didn't quite get the grade you want. But generally speaking, you know, yeah, it's up to you, but if you are going to address it, just keep it short and to the point if you feel you need to explain it. Extracurricular in your cover letter is important, so playing to your strengths, focusing on what's outside of academics as well. And then I've got why Duncan Cotterill. So that's again a chance for you to research why and write to us around why you do want to work for us. You sort of do the research on us, and then us in return, when we're looking at the applications, we'll research you. So it's important that you do that. Keeping language positive, another important point, and letting your language reflect the style of the firm where you can. So you will have heard me talking about our values a little bit already, and if you can incorporate that sort of language into your cover letter, then awesome. Don't overcomplicate your writing, so be yourself and speak fairly naturally, and you know, give confidence and conviction in what you're writing back yourself, because you can absolutely do it. Don't submit an application without proofreading or peer reviewing. So again, that just falls down to the piece around addressing it to the wrong person. Don't send the wrong cover letter to the wrong firm. I know I've addressed it and I'm repeating myself here, but I always get this every year. So I just want to make sure I highlight it. Try to balance being enthusiastic and assertive without being, you know, overly pushy. And it comes back to that being your authentic self piece. So just to cover your CV, this is an opportunity to highlight your key skills and experience and achievements relevant to the job. Just before I talk about the pages and how they might look, I have here layout, font and spacing. Make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing to look at as well. So think about the white space, don't jam it all together. You know, if you're going to use different fonts, make sure that they're readable fonts. Don't sort of overcomplicate it too much. Page 1, just as an example, page 1 might have your education, your academic achievements, and your leadership and community involvement if you have that, or other achievements. Your second page might have your work history, your skills, hobbies and interests. I always enjoy it when people include that, because it gives you a bit more of an insight as to who they really are and what they enjoy, and something that I always like getting to when I'm a reader going through a CV. And then references as well. So then I've got some tips here, just using columns and bullet points where you can. So that means it's easy to read, it's clear, succinct, and the font size we've talked a little bit about, and color consistency as well. If you can keep your CV to 2 pages, great. Understandably, you can't always, but I suppose less is more, just making sure you are highlighting the key points and getting your message across. Photos, well, these are always a bit of a personal preference depending on the recruiter you're talking to. I'm indifferent, but I do think if you are going to include a photo, just make sure that it's a professional one. So no selfies, filters. I would, yeah, get someone to, you don't have to do it, get a photographer as such, but get someone to take a professional photo of you rather than selfies, in which, interestingly enough, I have definitely seen my fair share of them over the years, or cropped out from, you know, a photo that they've been at a party and their little heads cropped out. So and then just key tips in summary here. So do your homework. Don't leave it to the last minute. I think this one is really important. I think if you are going to be applying for several firms, which understandably candidates will do, they all take quite a lot of time. So it's carving out time to go into their application form and look what they're actually asking for, each of the respective firms, before, you know, the final day where applications are closing and trying to do it all at once. I would really just make sure that you are carving out that time and giving it the time and energy that it deserves. And it also allows for something going wrong too. So let's say, you know, there was a whole lot of traffic through one of the firm's websites on the very last day at the last minute, and you're trying to submit and you couldn't, and your internet crashed, all of that sort of thing. It's almost like an assignment. Just give it a little bit more time if you can, and you'll feel much better about it. Read the website, but don't regurgitate it in your cover letter. So as I say, it's important to have, you know, keywords or buzzwords, or relate some of the firm's values around why you want to work there, but you don't need to kind of regurgitate it back to us, because we're all very much aware of what all our values are, and, you know, the About Us section on our firm webpage. Use your careers service or peers to cross-check your CV and cover letter when you can. And don't compare yourself to everyone else. So work to your own strengths. And again, yeah, this comes back to backing yourself and having the confidence that you can do it. And I think it's important to, you know, have a conversation with a friend as well, if you feel that's going to be easier, and talk about what they might think some of your strengths are. But don't compare to other people, because it can put you in a bit of a tailspin. But I think it's really important to focus on yourself and your own strengths, and you all have them. So yeah, I've got that in there as a bit of a key tip. And then in terms of dates, I have covered this, but again, applications are open and closed this Monday. First round of interviews from 19th of April, and the second round from late April, early May. And finally, I've got here, good luck. I look forward to seeing your applications, hopefully. And yeah, I think we get a bit of a, like I say, a bit of an influx over the weekend. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask away. I have also got my email up here if you don't want to chat now, but you do have a couple of questions that you don't want to ask in the public forum. Don't be shy to drop me a note.